everybody. We like to call it game day in our leadership because we get to pour into you guys an extra amount compared to the rest of the week where we're still always pouring into you. Thank you. Awesome. Well, thank you all for being here. It's an exciting day. We'll go through a lot of the things we generally go through the meetings that are important, and then we will move on to our big hitter. We'll pass the puck, so to speak. So welcome to our meeting. We have serve agent and impact lives. That is our purpose. And yes, there's an extra zero. I have no idea why they put the zero on. But serve agents, impact lives, that is KWPR's main, what we like to say everybody, for it's a purpose. But every day we wake up, go to our team meetings, our meetings, it's how do we serve agents and help you impact lives. The mission at Keller Williams International is to build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, lives worth living, experiences worth giving, and legacies worth leaving. That being said, before we get to the next slide, there was a kind of an emotional thing, but there was this 24-year-old getting into real estate. That person built their real estate career, got into business with Keller Williams as a team leader, and then she started building a life worth living, and is now become an OP, and is giving all of us experiences worth giving and helping us build legacies worth leaving. So we just want to say congrats to Olivia. Think about the magnitude of how big this company is. She's selected as one of the top 40 Casey Kasem's countdown.
You're dating yourself.
Well, I would, because I'm not good looking. You open the door. But we have to keep reminding ourselves. We look at the challenges we have. We look at the things that we want to conquer. Yet we have to stop and go look at our victories and look what we have here. And what we have here is largely in part because of Olivia. Thank you. All right, we do play of the week. We're a little backed up because the last 2 weeks we did not have our meeting. Scotty, a few weeks ago, she showed up one day and it's like, is that you, Scotty? My goodness, what's going on? There's something different about you. Your hair? Well, she said, no, I'm trying to lose 65 pounds. And she did that. And it was pretty impressive to have that level of commitment. She's being elite. And again, careers worth having, lives worth living, legacies worth leaving. That is helping her have experiences worth giving. So way to go, Scotty. Remember, if you know anybody that does something a little extra out of the ordinary that we should know about, especially those you I call outstaters, we need to hear about it so that we can highlight you as well. Jason Arvidsson, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Jason Arvidsson.
Holy cow, let's talk about the Bold Awards. In the Bold Awards, we want to congratulate everybody who participated in this year's Bold. I'm going to have you all come up one at a time. I'm going to have you call up. We'll hold all the applause till the end. But if I miss you, trust me, I know. Krista Nelson, I think you're here somewhere, or did you just disappear? Come on down. Kim Lindgren, come on down. Kim's like, man, but what?
Yay, Kim.
Matthew Schulte, come on down.
Keep wanting to clap. Good job, Matthew.
Tom Wright, come on down.
Mr. Wrong.
Sarah Anderson, come on down.
Oh,
Matthew. I don't know. Maybe not. Matthew Moreland, come on down.
Yay, Matt.
Kelly Arvidsson.
Kelly.
Misha Courtney. No, everybody gotta get up, you gotta get up. None of that stuff. Tatiana. Heidi.
Oh, Tom. Oh, dang it.
Brian. Stordall.
All the people.
Yes. Honey, you're in the middle. Brian. Heidi. Monique.
Yay, Monique.
Michelle
Michelle.
Hoagland, Jenny Kisling, and Sherry Topness sneaking in at the very end. You did not avoid my gaze.
It was hard not to find.
And what I want to point out, what I want to point out is on each of these, we asked each person to include what they felt was their favorite or most important or inspirational bold law. And if you aren't familiar with the bold laws, they're all here on the wall. And these are phrases that can impact you every day when you consider them and think about them. And I encourage anybody to think about that, how they did that, and the success and accomplishment that completing this class, which is not simple. And for those people who've been there more than once, to go and do it again shows you the value of the project, because they know it's not simple, and yet they signed up to do it again and again and again and again. So that commitment to their business is something we want to reward and acknowledge. So let's give everybody a big round of applause. If I miss you, I promise it's only because we're running like crazy today. Can you? Thanks, man. Tech update, agent sites. You can upgrade your agent site. If you don't know how, you can see me at 2 p.m. when I'm doing a class on that later today. Upgrade your agent site, no cost, looks better, neat stuff, get video. See it too. Continuing education blitz. This has been something that's been asked for on multiple occasions from many of our agents. On the 11th and 12th of December, we're having a 2-day CE blitz. You can knock out all 15 continuing education credits, including the mandatory course, which is super important to get that done. There is a small fee. You can register right here. Now, because this is a new year and we want to provide something interesting, we also will be, one of the courses we'll be having is on changes in the real estate industry based on the legalization of marijuana and how that affects property. So that's something that honestly you probably haven't encountered in any CE class before, and it's a great opportunity to kind of take a look and learn a little bit about something that's new for all of us. So let's go ahead and get that signed up. When's the last day to sign up? Today?
They can sign up whenever, but I'd love to know sooner than later.
All right, there you go, count me in. I'll be there. Keller Williams preferred, right? We have Jingle and Mingle. For those of you who didn't hear, don't know, might not remember, the Jingle and Mingle party, which is the potluck, will be on December 20th. So sign up, pick a dish, come on the 20th. If you remember, just Thanksgiving, we had a great time, and we're looking forward to seeing even more people here on the 20th. Yes.
That potluck though is only desserts and appetizers. So,
No meals, bro.
no.
Just desserts and apps. So it's a day of gain weight. Come on down. December 13th, cookie exchange, scan there. We have family reunion coming up. We've talked about that. We're excited to see you there. I can't think of a better, if you've never been, I can't think of a better year to start and try. We're gonna have Mel Robbins and Tony Robbins speaking at the event. So it's gonna be a huge event, and we are excited to see you there. As part of that, I'd like to have Kelly come on up and talk a little bit about a process that we're having this year to celebrate Christmas and to spread some good news.
Okay, so you may have seen Facebook posts or stuff on the tree out front and that sort of thing. We are adopting some veterans from the Hastings Veterans Home. And thank you, Jenny, for connecting us. There you go. Just for connecting us with them. So we have tags on the tree. We are adopting 29 veterans. They're looking for something as simple as like a $50 gift card to Menards or Super America or whatever. When I talked to the guy at the Veterans Home to tell him how many people we could take on and how much we were willing to spend on each one of them, he was so excited and grateful for us doing this. So that just made me super excited. And obviously, as you know, our son is in the military, so that's a big deal to us. So please participate, take a tag, get your gift card, bring it back to the front desk. If you're like an outstate person or whatever, and you'd rather just donate, or if you're in state and you're right here, and you prefer to donate, my Venmo is on right by my desk, by Jenny's office, by the front desk. So you can donate that way as well. And then whatever is extra, we will give to the Veterans Home. And like I said, he was so excited. So let's make this amazing for these veterans who have done so much for us. Any questions?
All right, we do have a profit share contest. Jamie's talking a little bit about that. We've already talked about what it is and who it is, so we just want to talk about who's delivering this week.
Well, we only have till the 15th now, December. Get your name to those amazing prizes. You all know the prizes by now. There are some people who have earned a Lego man. And those people, you can do, let's do it after.
Yep.
And you can also sign up there, get your name on the Lego. And that is Sarah Anderson, Billy Arvidsson 2, Laura Tuft 2 more, Megan Oren 4,
Wow.
Trisha Rude 3,
Wow.
Shannon Moe 1, Lisa B 2, and Edmonds 1, and Ryan Custodio 1. So let's live it up to them. Again, what we're looking for is just introductions to us from people in the industry that you think share our mission, share our values, share in this culture that we can continue to grow it and grow y'all's profit share.
Ooh, all y'all.
Yeah,
All right. My good friend from David Weekly Homes, I want to point out, as I do, lunch. Much attention should be paid here.
Great. Thank you all so much for having me. I did not prepare like a bunch of beautiful slides today because I really wanted to just by the way, my name is Heather. I work for David Weekly Homes. I just wanted to keep it more casual today because I feel like this year has been kind of a year of like feeling beat down in the industry, not only in existing real estate, but also in new construction. So I just was kind of curious, and maybe we can just do a show of hands, like how many people feel like they have somebody that's just like on the bench, like waiting for something, waiting for better interest rates, waiting for a better market, like just put your hand up. Yeah, that's like, I think the consensus that I'm hearing throughout the industry is just like, people are just sitting on the bench and they're like, I'll get in the game when it gets better, whatever that is in their head. So I want to be an encourager to you today by first of all just saying that this is actually a really cool time. If you're going to look at new construction, if your clients are considering it at all, this is a great time to look because we actually have inventory. Lots of times when the market gets really busy again, the inventory goes away, and then what do prices do? They go up. So if you have a client that is like considering new construction, I would just call them again and just say, hey, I'd encourage you to just, let's go look at a few things together. Maybe it's, just a quick like pop in on a Tuesday night or something. Just call them up, see what their schedule is. They might be surprised by the value that they can get right now, and also the fact that there's going to be help with the interest rate. And like currently, as rates have come down just a little bit, with the buy down that we're currently doing, we can get them into like the 5.5, 5.75% on a 30-year fixed, which compared to a few years ago still seems a little high, but it's actually pretty awesome. And if they wait till after the first of the year, what I'm afraid is going to start to happen is we're going to see a really early spring market. All these people are going to flood back in the market. Inventory is going to go away. The rate incentives are going to go away, and then we're back to higher prices. So all that being said, if you ever have any questions, you're welcome to call me. I love to have conversations about what your clients are seeing, what you're seeing. I brought 2 flyers today. These are my completed quick move-in homes right now. So I've got homes that have finished basements and they're like 3,370 square feet for $540. So there's some good deals to be had out there. So I'm gonna leave these up on the front table. Feel free to grab them if you'd like to. My contact information's on the bottom, and I'll stick around if you have questions, and then just enjoy lunch.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. That's outstanding. As you all know, we like to have what's called a world-class calendar. We believe you need to keep growing in order to keep going. I think it'll be even more so as the next year goes on. I love sharing a great person with great people. So I'm just as excited for you all to learn from Erik as he is to meet you. Please, at the end, take a picture with Erik, post it on social media, and then tag him on it so his world knows that he's making an impact in your lives, as well as letting your clients know that you're progressing in multiple ways. Mindset is going to be as important as ever. Erik will do a great job of getting into that. This is a gentleman who, like a lot of y'all, grew up around here as a little boy, or girl, I mean, obviously, and had big dreams. And he got to that point in his career. You played with Gretzky on the same sheet of ice, right? Yep. And Gretzky really knows his sheet. Right? Sorry, I shouldn't went there. So to go from there to that, has a certain energy, has a certain passion, and it's something that we need to continue to pump into ourselves and pump into each other. So ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome Erik Westrum.
This is walk up song.
She's got your side on there. Oh, yes. Wow. Stand up and show your jersey. Look at the back.
You guys know I'm a huge sports fan, huge Wild fan, so I'm like, oh my God.
Fangirling right now.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for having me, Jamie. I'm gonna get into, we talked a little bit, and as entrepreneurs, you're always kind of just shooting from the hip sometimes. So as we were going back and forth yesterday, I said, hey, I have something prepared that I can just go with, and then we can do a little Q&A after. So if you want to interrupt, feel free to raise your hand. Otherwise, I'm gonna go through kind of my journey to becoming elite. And when I started, today is about you transforming you to be elite. Transforming your version of what elite is. It's not my version, it's not Jamie's version or anyone else's. And when you look at average, is just as close to the bottom as it is to the top. So if I take one step forward, I'm closer to being elite, to being above average. If I go one step back, or if I sit on the couch or sit on the sideline, you're going one step towards the bottom. And that's when I talk about becoming elite, it's about transforming you by developing healthy habits as leaders. It's transforming you to be able to impact others, transforming you to be able to serve others, because now more than ever, you can be a leader, not only in this industry, but also in other people's lives. And when you look at it, statistically, in any sport, right? Baseball, hockey, football, you're measured on statistics. How many goals did you score? How many assists did you have? Wins, losses, touchdowns, interceptions, batting average, on-base percentage, ERA. It's always statistics that drive results. And when you look at statistics around leaders, according to research, 10% of people are a natural born leader. So 10% of you, 1 in 10, are an actual natural born leader, according to research. 20%, so 2 in 10, or 1 in 5 of you, have a trait just waiting to continue to be developed to become a leader. So only 15%, if you take the middle of you, are considered a leader or can be a leader. I would disagree with a group like this, with a group that you guys are building, that statistic can be higher. And the reason I talk about it is now more than ever, people are followers. So if you take your device and you go on X or Snapchat or Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook, first thing you do, if you see something, you like it. And then if you want to get more information, what do? You follow. So society is making everybody to be a follower, not a leader. They're making so your clients, your prospective clients, are all followers. So just like Heather talked about, if you don't have information and you don't have knowledge to share with them, they don't know that there's X amount of homes out there that are finished. They look at interest rates, they look at lawsuits, they look at the market, the political environment, there's so much stuff that your client or your prospective client is looking at, but they can't control that. And what you can control is how you show up to be a leader. So today, when you show up, anywhere I go and speak. Last week I spoke to 10 people on Wednesday and I spoke to thousands of people on Friday. Same statistic applies. In a room like this or anywhere, 33% of you showed up just because you felt like coming. You wanted to either get an award, you want to get a free lunch, right? And you're not going to be fully engaged, that's okay. And then there's another 33% that shows up, maybe we'll implement it for 2 hours, 2 days, or 2 weeks, and then what happens? Things get difficult. And if you've ever saw that commercial with the red easy button, then you push the easy button, and the easy button is what you're doing right now, right? No matter where you are, you kind of reset every single day, and then you're gonna go back to what you knew. And then there's the 33%, so I always talk about the 33%, like you are my people. You are my people who want to develop, who want to get better, who want to impact the lives of others, who want to serve others, and who want to transform your life to be more elite. And that's when I look at the hope that is provided. Because interest rates aren't going to provide hope. The housing market sometimes isn't going to provide hope. And you're going to get down, and your clients are going to see that. But I'm going to tell you right now, because you showed up today, you provide hope. You provide hope not only to others, but to yourself. You provide hope that you can make the commitment and that you can commit to level up 1%. That's all we're looking at, and we'll talk about that later, is 1%. So you've showed up. Now all you have to do is make the commitment. I train athletes, and we had a kid literally would show up to the workout facility or the ice rink outside because his parents could track his phone. He literally won't even walk into the ice rink or to the training facility. Half the battle is like showing up, and this kid couldn't even like put the commitment in. So for you, you've shown up, you might as well put some kind of commitment in and make a step forward. Just like whether it's losing weight, 65 pounds, it takes one step in one day to make a difference and transform your life. You show up, you make a commitment, and then you have the team to thrive here. And Jamie talks about that. And when you look at Keller Williams and how long they've been around and what they're doing as a whole, and then as a team, it's just like sports. You have a team, and everyone always asks me, is this the Wild's year? Is this the Wild's year? You look at the Gopher hockey program, haven't won, I mean, since like we were there, back in 2002 or 1 or whatever. That's like 20 plus years with a good program. There's a team, but are those guys using the resources? And are you using the resources they provide? They provide a resource, they provide classroom, like use it. It's gonna make you better, otherwise they wouldn't provide it. They wouldn't waste their time providing a resource to you to make you better. So you showed up, you haven't made the commitment, team to thrive, and now it's time to execute. So are you gonna do it now or are you gonna do it later? Majority of you are gonna say, hey, holidays are coming, it's the end of the year, let's start it at the new year. Some of you will be able to do that, but it takes discipline, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But a majority of you will get on to the next great thing. It's the shiny thing in the room syndrome, right? I'm sure as real estate agents or entrepreneurs, we have that. We have that syndrome. You have that where it's, oh, shiny, whoa, over here, whoa, over here. How can you focus and do it now, not later? And when I look at my journey around becoming elite, so I came up with the concept in the book around the 4 proven pillars. The psychological shift, which is your mind, the physical, which isn't only your body, but it's just how you physically show up. The spiritual side, right, which is faith or the unknown, and the emotional side that we'll touch on. But like Jamie said, I grew up in Apple Valley, Minnesota, right down 10, 12 minutes from here, and I dreamed of playing professional hockey. I skated outside on the ponds and outdoor rinks. I wanted to play in the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament, which is probably one of the biggest amateur events around the world. I wanted to play for the University of Minnesota Gophers, wanted to represent Team USA, like Mike Ruzioni scoring the game-winning goal in 1980 Olympics. I wanted to play with or against Wayne Gretzky. Those are items on my big goal sheet that I had, and I still have that goal sheet because my mom keeps everything. And as they get older, I get everything in my house and have to decipher what I want to keep. I got bottles of wine with my face on it from when I played. It's empty, and she's like, do you want this? I'm like, if it was full, maybe. But I grew up dreaming and wanting it, but I didn't know how. And as I look back, that's what my book is about, and that's what the teaching principles I go through is my journey to becoming elite. And I'll take you through a short snippet. It's my 3rd year of professional hockey. I still hadn't played in the NHL. I went through 2 years of playing minor league hockey. In my 3rd year, I'm like, you know what? I think I know what it takes to get there. But I go back to my 1st year. I come into training camp. Jamie alluded to it earlier. Who's at training camp with me? Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky's at training camp with me. So I become a fanboy and follow him along and try to follow his process. But he's already the best player to ever play in the NHL. He's already won Stanley Cups, MVPs. Like, I can take some knowledge from him, but he was more interested in having some Bud Lights and shooting the crap with the boys and going on the ice. I wanted to follow him, so as he went on the ice, I came off the ice. And it was, in hindsight, awesome experience, but it derailed my journey to becoming my version of elite. Fast forward to my 3rd year. Year 1, I get sent down, I blame everyone, right? I blame everybody. I asked my agent to be traded. Never even played in the NHL. And I'm looking at blaming everybody else. Similar to your industry, you can blame the interest rates, you can blame the lack of clients, you can blame lawsuits, you can blame, but until you look at yourself in the mirror to do more, right? To think bigger and to move the needle, nothing's gonna change. So for 2 years, I blamed people. And I didn't take responsibility. I put the work in, but then it was the execution. And it was to be able to learn from my failure and then have success. And I didn't do that. So year 3, going to training camp, best training camp ever. Come to the last day of cuts. They call me in and I get cut. Go back down to the minors and I have the decision to make. Do I go back to work or do I blame others? I went back to work. 2 months later, I got a call from Team USA to represent their national team. Small tournament. If you're familiar with the Olympics, you got to get points, and otherwise you go into a relegation pool. And at that time, NHL guys weren't playing in those types of games. So us in the minors or Europe would play. We go over there, short stories, we win the gold medal. Awesome experience. You come home and no one cares. And no one cares. Right? Similar to you, you sell X amount of houses or X amount of transactions this month or this year, and then what happens? It starts over. That's why you have to have a strong mindset to be in any type of industry in sales or serving other people. And I started to develop that mindset and went into the new year and I'm like, hey, it's a new slate. I'm at 0. I got to start over. So I go put the work in. 3 weeks later, I get called up to the NHL for the Arizona Coyotes. I call my mom, my dad, my sister, my brother, my fiance at the time. We all fly down to Arizona. We watch the game that night and they lose and I'm pumped. Why am I pumped?
They're gonna make a roster.
They're gonna make a roster change, but that's not the way to do it. But I was excited, and the coach comes in, he says, Westy, you're in tomorrow. Yes, I'm like, sorry you lost, but I'm excited to go in. Go home, prepare for it. The next day I wake up, go to the meeting, Gretzky's in there, the GM Mike Barnett, and they're like, hey, we're firing Bobby Francis, new coach. Means sticking with the same roster. Westy, you're getting sent down. See you in 2 weeks. They lose, they call me up in 2 weeks, but it's like Christmas, right? I kind of was already excited, and you go and you see your gifts already, and you're like, ah. But I went, and I made it to the NHL, played against the Minnesota Wild my first game, played for the next 2 months, and had the time of my life. Coming off the ice after I scored my first goal, fist pumping Wayne Gretzky, saying, Westy, great job. Him and Mario Lemieux sit next to each other when we played the Penguins. It was a dream come true. And fast forward to the end of that year, I got asked to play for the national team, where all the guys from the NHL come together and play against the best on one of the biggest stages before the Olympics. And we went over to Prague, Czech Republic, and had to come together as a group of people like you, of all different backgrounds and different cultures and different guidance in the hockey culture of who do you play with, how do you play, and Peter Laviolette led us. He leads the New York Rangers right now as the head coach. Ironically, the general manager of the Rangers was my captain of this team, Chris Drury. Mike Greer, who was my line mate, is a GM at San Jose Shark. So you get where I'm going, right? Everyone was thinking bigger, everyone was thinking team, and we all had success there and after. If you fast forward, we played in the medal round. We had to medal in order to make the top 8 for the Olympics and the World Cup that were coming. Fast forward, we lose against Sweden because transparently the night before, we celebrated that we got into the semifinals and we barely slept and we drank a lot. And we had a ton of fun. And the next day we lost and coach came up to me and said, Westy, what's going on? What's going on with the team? What are we doing? I said, hey, I own it. We need you. You have to be the best player on this team for us to win. You have to be the best player. And he said that to every person, I guarantee, but he made me feel so important. I got some sleep the next day. We played Slovakia in the bronze medal game. First period, 0-0, second period, 0-0, third period, 0-0. You know, international play, you go to overtime, 0-0, and then you go to shootout. First 2 shooters on both teams missed. Third shooter is Marian Gaborik. We used to play for the Minnesota Wild. He goes down and he misses. Third shooter, Peter Laviolette, comes up and taps the kid from Apple Valley, Minnesota on the shoulder. I still get chills thinking about it. Westy, you're up. I'm like, whoa, let's go. For those 24 seconds, I put my leg over the boards and skated to center ice. I thought about everything. Skating outside, right down the road from here. At Galaxy, at Hayes Park, playing with my buddies and dreaming of this moment. And I wish I could tell you when you visualize something, and you think about it, and you work at it, you always accomplish it, but that's just not true. In this moment, I knew I had put the time in. I knew what I needed to do, and I came down and I faked left, faked right, came back, there was a small hole, and I slid it in the net. Most unbelievable experience. One of them was right there. That was after. And that 9-month period basically tells my life. It's up and down, up and down, up and down. But the thing everybody sees is this, right? They see all of these player pictures, but it's the process that is hard. It's the process of failing and letting other people control your outcome. That when you don't do the right thing and you don't put the work in, it's almost guaranteed you're not gonna have success. And the only person you can blame is yourself. And that's what I want to talk today about, is kind of your journey of becoming elite and how I can help. So I'm gonna go through kind of the 4 pillars that I talk about. First one is the psychological shift. So this talks about once your mindset changes, everything on the outside changes, right? So if you're around someone negative, what happens? You're negative, right? You're negative, whether it's a spouse, whether it's a friend. I mean, I have friends who call and complain and bitch about, pardon the language, about all this sorts of stuff. And I gotta cut them out because I used to feed into that and talk to them or go out with them or whatever. And it's like, that's gonna take you nowhere. So once your mindset changes and you surround yourself with positive people, positive influences, and the stuff you're doing in here, and you buy into it, I mean, the results will show. And that's when I talk about the power of the mind. So does anyone know the difference between a fixed and a growth mindset?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Scarcity versus abundance.
Scarcity versus abundance?
Do the same thing or do something different.
Doing the same thing or something different? So similar to what they're talking about, a fixed mindset, to simplify it, is here's what I'm given, here's who I am, here's what I'm gonna do. I can't change the outcome, right? So growth mindset is I can do something different, right? I can move out of that spot and I can grow. I can move on from whatever's holding me back, whatever's that obstacle and barrier. And I work with business professionals and athletes on one-on-one coaching. And we talk about, it doesn't matter if they're an NHL hockey player or a high school hockey player, whether they're a CEO or they're an admin assistant. It's all the same. It's the power of the mind. They get into some negative cycle, letting someone else influence their outcome, and they feel like they're stuck. And once you break free from that, it's crazy. Like all of a sudden, you're selling, you're on a path to a totally different outcome. And that's the power of the mind. And when I was in 8th grade, I made the band and B team, right? So in hockey world, if you make B and band, like you're done, right? If you didn't start skating when you're like 2 now or something, they say, right, you're done. So I went back in 8th grade, I had been on A teams all the way up, and I made the B team. My mom consoled me and was like, oh, you're great. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Felt sorry for me for a little bit. My dad said, hey, you have a decision. What do you want to do? You want to get better, or do you want to feel sorry for yourself? You want to be in a fixed mindset or a growth mindset? And I had to make that decision. I wish I could tell you it happened right away, but slowly I decided, I said, you know what? I don't want to make a B team again. I don't want to be on that next team. I want to try to be the guy. I want to make it. If I want to play in the NHL, it's going to take a ton of hard work to get there. And that's when you look at a fixed versus a growth mindset. I had to get out of the fixed mindset of, hey, I belong because I was there before. But it's what are you doing when no one's looking that makes the biggest difference. You can all show up here in front of each other, but when you go home, what are you doing when no one's looking? That's what your outcome is. When you're successful, it's most likely what you're doing when no one's looking. It's not always what you're doing in front of people. It's what you're doing when no one's looking. And that's the power of the mind. Second is the physical shift. Today I'll do what others won't, so I can accomplish what others can't, right? So today, what people won't do, you're gonna do. So tomorrow, you're gonna accomplish more. You're gonna accomplish what you want to accomplish. And that is when I talk about the physical shift, it's all around discipline routine, right? What's the difference between motivation and discipline? Anybody?
Motivation is the energy and discipline is the action.
Yeah. So motivation, right, is you do it when you want to do it, right? So if I wake up and I want to do it, I'll do it. If I don't, I won't do it. When you don't want to do it and you do it, that's discipline, right? You actually pull through of what you want to do. So every morning I wake up, my wife thinks I'm crazy because I wear like Lululemon shirt and shorts and I have socks in my pocket. You know why I have socks in my pocket? So when I roll out of bed, put my socks on, I already got my workout gear on, there's zero excuse. Zero excuse. This morning I woke up, it's my daughter's 10th birthday today, and somehow my wife lets her stay home from school. All my kids get to stay home from school when they don't, when it's their birthday. So all of a sudden, right, she's up afterwards, but I wake up and my excuse could have been, I'm gonna take her for breakfast, or you know what, it's her birthday, I don't have to do it. I wake up, I don't set an alarm ever, I'm like tracked like by the government, I got all sorts of tracking devices on me to check my data. I wake up, I roll out of bed, I lay back down on my pillow, because I'm like, I gotta get rest, right, because I'm coming here. I got my daughter's birthday afterwards, I got high school hockey practice, my son plays Pee-wees, I'm coaching that, we gotta, like, and that starts going through your head, and what do you wanna do? You wanna just go back to bed. Get out of bed, and I go and work out. And I feel so much better 5, 6, 7 minutes into it, getting into that routine. And that's what I did from 8th to 9th to 10th grade. I had a sheet of paper about the size of this right here with 365 boxes. You know what those were for? Each day of the week. How many pucks did I shoot? How many stick handling routines did I did? And I went from 8th grade band and B to my junior year winning the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament, all state, getting a full ride scholarship to the University of Minnesota, being a 2-time All-American, 15th all-time leading scorer of Gopher hockey history in 100+ years, top 10 in penalty minutes is my big one. I hated to lose, right? I was competitive, and I tell you that because that is realistic.
She got in a fight in 10th grade. Hockey.
I like it.
So, yeah.
I mean, it was girl hockey, so it was like very like.
So you got competition for penalty minutes.
Well, that's when you look at it, right, is that discipline routine is, you have to be competitive, right? You have to be disciplined to do it even when it doesn't work out. And like I said, I coach athletes and businesses and teams and sales teams and all sorts of stuff. And we talk about it all the time. I can tell you whatever you want, and we can go through this process one-on-one, but if you're not gonna do it on the other side, like, I'm not working with you. I don't care, right, what you pay me, I don't care what if that interaction, you have to do the work, right? You can be guided and led, but if you don't put the work in, you have zero chance to succeed. The third pillar is a spiritual shift. So first and foremost, I don't sit here and talk about shoving a religion or a faith down your throat, but I am a Christian. I believe Jesus Christ was born, the Virgin Mary was crucified and rose again according to the scriptures. I say that for 10 seconds. I wear my religious belief on my sleeve. I talk about it in my book a little bit, but today is not about a spiritual or a faith or a religion. It's about what you're in control of. I'm never in control of what happens around me, but I'm always in control of what happens within me. Gets back to the mindset, right? There's something bigger, higher power, or the world, or the universe, or your team, or whatever you create around mind, body, and soul that impacts your beliefs and values. So when you look at your beliefs and values and your moral compass, or your spirituality, or faith, faith is of the unknown, right? You have to have faith first and foremost in yourself. If you don't have faith in yourself, how are others going to believe in you, right? You can't let someone else control you of saying you're not good enough, you're not good looking enough, you're not smart enough, right? That's up to you from a self-worth standpoint, a self-awareness standpoint. And when it comes to beliefs and values, that game when the coach came off and I was glad they lost, that's not me, that's not my beliefs and values. Probably karma. I got sent down the next day and the coach got fired, right? I should have been cheering him on and maybe I would have got in. And the coach would have stayed and they would have won. And maybe he would have changed the lineup anyways because I was there. But everything happens for a reason. And when you look at the beliefs and values that you have or that the company has, right, around serving and impacting, when you serve and impact, what happens? Everything's better, right? Change happens. You sell more. When I used to hire people in insurance and finance, I would literally ask, what drives you? So the book Drive by Daniel Pink, right? He talks about things that drive you. And I would say, hey, if you had 100%, right, and you had to break it up around helping others, money, or freedom and family, and you had to put like 25, 30%, and it had to equal 100, what would you do? If they put money first, I wouldn't hire them. People are like, why? I said, because if they impact more people, they serve others, what happens? If I serve and impact 100 people versus I go after 10 transactions, I just made 10 times as much money, but I've impacted 10 times as many people. So when you look at impacting and serving first, right, not the financial gain. Yes, as a finance, and I went back to school to get my master's in business and finance. Yes, you chase the profit and loss, and you chase the P&L and everything else. But at the end of the day, what impacts that is how much you impact others. And that's when we talk about beliefs and values. And the fourth is the emotional shift. Don't let anyone rent space in your head unless they're a good tenant. Getting out of sports, you do everything. I mean, I've been in every industry that you can, right? My wife says I have business ADD. Which I probably would have had ADD growing up, but I don't think they diagnosed us with it. But on the serious, I had a commercial building with people, and we had some bad tenants in there, but we were like transactional. You're like, oh, they're paying the bill kind of, sort of, you gotta chase them. And the amount of energy we spent on that, like we had 3 partners, bought one out, and I'm competitive, so I don't wanna lose. My wife's like, just get out of it, I'm like, no. That's why I don't gamble either, because I would never quit, because I want to win. So I stayed in this thing for like 2 years. Finally, we got the bad tenants out. One good tenant stayed in, paid a small portion. And then guess what happened? In 16 months, that tenant grew and grew and grew and grew and grew, and they bought the building. And it's all because we started putting energy and time, and it's the same thing in our head. If you have people renting space in your head right now, and you can think of those people, like you got to get them out of your life because it's not going to impact you. 90% of your energy is getting taken up by negative people, right? And it's hard. It's hard. You have to go through a transformation. I went through that, right? I went through that transformation of who am I and who do I want to become? It gets lonely, but then you start to get your people, right? You start to impact others that you want to impact. And you're able to serve more, and you're able to impact your circle of people. And that's around living intentionally, right? Waking up and having intention every single day. When you wake up, what's your intention? What's your intention? It's like when I coach hockey player, what's your intention to go out on a shift? Well, I want to score a goal. That's a result, right, and a goal. It's the process that you have to fall in love with. It's the process of calling prospects. It's the process of getting denied. It's the process of interest rates going up and down. It's the process of getting more knowledge around your industry. It's the process of being an expert in what you do. When you go and meet with people, you know 95% of more than the other person. Well, I saw this on TV. It's like, okay. You know more, and you have to show up and live intentionally and be confident of what you're doing. Because that's what will drive performance, and that's what will drive you to be more elite. And I talk about the ultimate shift. There is no ultimate shift. It's a journey. You never arrive, but you're always thriving and driving to be better. And I use this picture on here around the bridge between yesterday and today and tomorrow. So yesterday is behind us, right? We all have crap in our life that sucks, right? We all have, whether it's something that happened with family, friends, work, school, it's the past, right? And I'm not saying that lightly, but you have to look at the past, and I talk about it in the book, you gotta kiss it. You gotta kiss the past. It's like a wave, right? It comes in your face and you're like, that sucks. But if you let it suck you out there, right, then you're in trouble. But if you can pass that and then you look at today and you can stand there firmly and say, you know what, I'm gonna be disciplined. I'm gonna be in a growth mindset. I'm gonna be spiritually grounded in my beliefs and values, and I'm gonna live intentionally. I will guarantee you will have success. I will guarantee it. You know why I will guarantee it? Because when I go and speak, that 33% are the only people who will implement it. Now let's take that 33%, and of that group of people, it breaks into another smaller 33%. It's like pro sports, college sports, everything. It goes like that. Guarantee this many will make high school, junior, college, and pro. It gets smaller and smaller because people will not put the work in. I could tell all of you, you have to do this for 365 days. I can guarantee this. Some of you walk out and won't even do it tomorrow. That's just how our brain works. Because it's, no, he's not, that's not real. That's not real. It tricks you to know that. But if you accept the past, and when I say accept the past, it's moving on from it and realizing like that's just part of you, right? That's part of who you are. But now you have the opportunity to be more and more elite and move forward. And the 1% impact, so I talk about this, I don't know if anybody's a math major in here, but 1% of 24 hours is how many minutes, do you think? Do the math, too. 24 times 60, that times 1% is how many minutes? 14. 14, yeah, look at this guy here, right? Just about 14 point something, so like 15 minutes a day. That's what I talk about, 15 minutes a day, right? Warren Buffett always talks about the best investment you will ever make is in yourself. So if you can put 15 minutes a day into making a change, like I guarantee your world and your outcome will change. So if I asked you and said, hey, can you do this for 90 hours this year? You're like, I barely got 90 minutes, let alone do I have 90 seconds. Because 90 hours is basically 15 minutes a day. But when you break it down to that easy 1%, and I started doing this honestly around my Bible study I have, someone mentioned this 1% or 15 minutes. I'd open up the Bible and I'd look and I'm like 4 minutes, I'm like, geez, I'm like, is this thing done yet? And now I go through that process in the morning, I need like an hour and a half to myself. Like if I wake up at 4, 4:30, 5, 5:30, like I need time to go through all my pillars and check those off. Otherwise, I'm completely out of sorts. If I don't hit the spiritual, physical, and psychological portions, I'm out of sorts. Emotional one, probably my worst. Right? You can ask my wife. I'm getting better, but I still struggle with the emotional one. But if I put 1% in 15 minutes, it makes a huge difference. But what you have to do is to level it up, is you have to integrate it, right? So you have to combine one thing with another so they become a whole. You can't just say, hey, I'm gonna compartmentalize my mindset, and then I'm gonna compartmentalize my emotional thing. And I know I talk to men especially, right? Vulnerability equals masculinity. The more vulnerable you are, the more masculine you are. And it goes opposite of what society says, right? But the more vulnerable you are, the more masculine is. Even as women, the more vulnerable you are, right? Sometimes it's associated with weakness, but it's the stronger you are because you're authentically showing up yourself. And that's hard to do. But when you integrate one thing with another, so you have all 4 pillars and you integrate it, it's like your chair right now. If I cut one of those legs off half and you had to sit there and balance for the 40 minutes that I'm up here talking to you, it'd be pretty hard, right? So it's the same thing there. You got to keep it in equilibrium, and then you have to implement it. And that's the process of putting a decision or plan. So you can come up with a plan. I can come up with a plan for you to get better results as a person or as a business person, but you have to implement it and you have to do it. I can't do it for you. It's the same thing in life, in sports, in anything. Like there's a plan, like coaching high school hockey. Here's the plan. First game, I'm like, somehow we won and we were awful. Like everything we did all week, I'm like, did they even listen? As coaches, you can't do anything, right? It's the players. It's the same thing here. It's your life and you control it. And I'll leave you with 3 key tools that I want to share, and I share it in my book as well, right? The first one's a daily check-in. So when I wake up, a daily check-in, just personalized approach, it's increasing my awareness. So I wake up and I go through and I look at all 4 pillars and I figure out what I want to do, right? From a mindset, for me, I want to get better in coaching, right? Because I can get competitive and be like, I want it more than you. So mindset, I got to reset and realize everybody's an individual, right? So today, that's my goal. When I go home, it's a mindset piece of listening to a podcast on my way home and like resetting. Physical, I don't have a problem with that. Like I could, if you could pay me to work out for 14 hours a day, like I'll go do crazy crap, right? Broke my toe Saturday and I was gonna work or run, and I still ran 2 miles on it to see how far I could go before like again, I got mindset over matter. Like I love that stuff. So physical, I have 0 problem pushing myself today. I added something else. Spiritual side, for me, it's prayer, right? My son, who's a freshman, has a better prayer life than me and can connect and speak about, and I struggle with that sometimes, whether it's, I don't feel like I'm worth it for the prayer or how to connect with my higher power, right? But for me, that's one thing I didn't check off, and that goes into the recalibration. So I'm doing a recalibration right now here with you guys live, so I don't have to do it when I get home. The third one, so my prayer, what I'm gonna do when I get home is I'm gonna pray and say, hey, I'm grateful to be here today with everybody, and I'm gonna pray that everybody has a happy and healthy holiday, and that you kick some butt in 2024. So now I can cross that off when I get home. And then the emotional shift is talking to my daughter whose birthday it is, and just connecting with her on an emotional level, right? And saying, hey, how's your day? Are you excited that you're 10 years old? Are you excited? Is anything going on in your world, right? To be able to connect with that. And then at night, I reflect on the learning. So if I miss something, I'll reflect. Back then, we used to call it failure, right? Now it's a learning. You learn from your failure, and what can I do better the next day? And then celebrate the success and the wins. So PJ Fleck, right, whether you like the Gophers or you don't, if it was after the Iowa game, most people would be excited. If it's right now, we got this free bowl game. But talking with him, that's one of the things we talk about. Like he came to my event last year and we've got to know each other over the years. Celebrate the wins. I used to be really bad at that, right? You close a transaction and you're like, awesome, what's next? Right? And that's probably why you're in this room, because you're competitive, you want to get, but you have to validate and say, hey, you know what? Good job. Good job. Good job. Celebrate that win, because then it will fuel the next win. And I'm really bad at that. Like I'll write the book and the next day I'm like, hey, when are we starting the event? What's next? My wife's like, dude, like, enjoy it. Like, you don't have to go on to the next thing so quick. But that's how I'm built and wired. And I've added that in to celebrate the wins of, you know what, check it and say, you know what, this is what you did well. This is what I did well to be able to move on. And that's the 3 tools. And what I'll leave you with today is a challenge, right? Challenge you, like, who's your accountability or support partner? Because if you say you're gonna do this, and you don't have someone to keep you accountable, how does anyone know you're doing it or not? Right? You got like the easiest escape ever. You don't have to be accountable to anyone. I used to be like that. I was accountable to no one. Playing pro sports, you don't have to be accountable to anyone. You park on the sidewalk, you can do whatever you want, and people let you, oh yeah, go ahead, don't worry, go ahead, don't worry. There's zero accountability, and then you get into the real world, and it's like, probably gotta do that. Probably gotta abide by the rules. Probably can't fly by the seat of my pants. And that's where a support or accountability partner come in. And then what side of the statistic do you want to be on? Do you want to be a leader or do you want to be a follower? Do you want to make an impact in a positive way or do you want to be impacted negatively? Do you want to serve others in order to become more elite in what you're doing, or do you just want to stay status quo? And then what are you doing more to set yourself apart? What are you doing to get to that next level? Because you can't continue to just do what you're doing. Even if you're at a great level and you've had a great year, or 2 years ago you had a great year, wherever you're at, if you just level it up, and you think about it, if you level it up 1% in everything you do, it's from a mindset to a disciplined routine, like emotionally connecting with people and relationships, like it's unbelievable. And then when will you go all in on what you want, not what you need? We all need water, food, shelter, but what do you really want? And it's not always more money, it's not always more things, but I think coming in here, right, and I look and it says think bigger, how can you impact and serve more people? Impact and serve more people, most of you are gonna get what you want. I like to impact and serve more people because it fills me up. It inspires me to be more inspired tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And when I go to my Pee Wee B hockey game tonight at 8:10 tonight, I'm excited to make an impact with those kids. Whereas I used to look at it like, oh my gosh, I gotta go and I'm not gonna be home till 9:30. I'm gonna go with an open heart of gratitude. I'm gonna enjoy it. And if I can help, let me know, right? Jamie has my information. I wanna be able to help and impact other people however I can. And that's when I look at you in this room as a leader, you can be a guide. Right, so that's me coaching hockey. But you can be a guide and know, like, what do you control and what don't you control? And how can you guide other people? You have to let your clients know what they control and what they don't control. They don't control interest rates. You don't control interest rates. You don't control lawsuits. You don't control outcomes. But what you can control is your actions and what you do. You can control how much time and effort you put into everything. And as a person, dream big. Kid from Apple Valley, Minnesota, making Bantam B hockey, like accomplish all that stuff. And I say it from a place of humility, like anything is possible. That's why we live in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Not to get into politics, I'm not going that way. But I do believe we're here right now, we're blessed. I can do whatever I want with my 24 hours. If I want to sleep for 16 of them, I can. If I want to do nothing, if I want to do something, I can do it, and I can be elite. And for you, everyone aspires to be elite, and just for showing up, you're elite, right? You've made one step closer to elite than the bottom. And in that journey to transform you to be elite, your version, and transform you to impact and serve others, I can guarantee you will have results. I can guarantee you'll be your version of elite. Thank you. 12 o'clock on the nose.
That's impressive.
You wanted me to, eh?
I said,
I usually
hey.
do this in a 90-minute speech, so.
See, we always end right on time.
You don't, there's no way.
Hey, real quick, please go to his website,
the
erikwestrum.com. You can download the 3 daily tools that keep you on track. If you haven't read the book, please read the book.
And if you don't too, like you can email me, I can send you one of those tools for free too. There's a ton of resources, like I like to give them out. And then I brought, I'll leave them out there because I know how everyone operates, but I just brought like some books and t-shirts if anyone wants to buy them. Everything go, I have a charity called Let's Make the Shift. It's around mental health awareness. So all the stuff I do, like with that, with the book, like the merch and stuff goes towards that. So I'll figure out with you, I'll leave some stuff, and I got like Venmo codes and PayPal and Zelle and all that stuff. So if you're interested in it, we appreciate the support. Otherwise you can go on the site to find it, so.
Awesome. Well, be elite.
Be elite. Appreciate you very much.
We'll raise the screen and take pictures with them, and then we also have a drawing for a couple of the books. Let's see here. We've got a Kelly Jeffers.